Hello my friends, Jeanette here with Vivo Vintage Designs. Welcome to today's video. Here I'm showing you my dirty palettes and an image that I printed from, I googled cartoon fish and this image came up, so I printed it out so that I can use it as a reference. I have many palettes and a lot of them have leftover paint from previous projects. And I never clean them out unless I need a particular palette, then I do clean it out. Because I like to use the leftover paint to create paintings like this one, where I'm just using whatever's left over and I'm going to create some fun images. There's no plan, I don't draw anything out, I just put the brush to the paper and I have some fun. So you can see here, the little crab came out adorable. And now I'm painting a little starfish, and that was easy to do. If you use the side of your brush and you drag it across your paper, you get a broad mark, and then you can lift up to the point of the brush again to taper it. So you can have some nice pointy, I guess, arms on your starfish. And here I'm painting a little seahorse. And as I mentioned, I didn't draw anything out. I'm just going with whatever comes off my paintbrush. And I think he turned out very cute and very much like the image on the paper that I printed out. So you can see here I am diluting the paint and to create the body of this fish, and then I'm picking up a darker consistency of that color or whatever is on my palette, whatever's left over, and while the body is still wet I'm adding the fins and the tails. And of course these fish don't look like any realistic fish, but that's the whole point of this, is just to have fun and be whimsical. Now you can get as carried away with this as you like by adding coral and seaweed and just all types of fish and sea creatures. Here I'm painting a little sea turtle. So I've done his shell in a lighter green and now I'm adding his little arms and legs. I'm sure that's not what they're called, but it's what I'm going to call my little guys here. Arms and legs, and I'm adding his head, and again using the side of the brush and then coming up to the tip is how I was able to get those shapes for the arms and legs. And then while the shell was still wet, I added a little darker green to create the markings of the shell. And here you can see as I draw the brush across the paper on its side, I'm getting these perfect little arms for my little octopus. And this fish, his mouth came out so wonky, but I thought it was so cute. While the body is still wet, I'm going to pick up a little bit of green. I seem to have a lot of green left over on my palette, so you'll see me use that often. And I'm touching it to the end of the fins just so that color blends in with the yellow and it'll dry really nice. Here I'm painting a clamshell. And while it's still wet, I'm picking up a little bit of the darker brown and adding it to the top and the bottom. And again, as it dries, that'll blend in very nicely. Excuse me. And here, I don't even know what type of shell this would be, but again, I used the side of my brush and I was able to get these really nice shapes so it looks like a spiral. I started with the tip of the brush, pushed down on the brush as I pulled it on its side across the paper, and then I lifted back up to the point. And that was a really simple way to get that shell shape. And here I've added a lighter pink to the bottom of each of the octopus's arms, and then went back with a darker pink and added the little suction cups. And now I'm just adding a little bit more detail to the body, rather the shell of the turtle. And the fun part of doing this is that once you've filled up your paper with all your little fish or whatever you want to paint, it doesn't have to be fish, it could be flowers, it could be kites, it could be anything at all, it could just be circles, it doesn't matter. You can come back with gel pens and micron pens and add so much detail, and it's so fun and so easy to get carried away. So here again, using the side of the brush, you can see as I pull it across the paper, I get these beautiful broad lines, and I'm only using a size 4 brush. Again, drawing the brush across the paper on its side, I'm able to create the lines on this clamshell. And then I kind of wiggle the brush and make them a little thicker and thinner here and there, just for some interest and detail. Now I had a lot of white space, and I decided to fill it in with these little bubbles. So I've diluted that blue that you see in the palette with a lot of water, and I really should have changed my water, but I was so caught up in what I was doing that I wasn't paying attention. And now as I do this voiceover, I'm looking at the water and seeing just how dirty it is. But again, this is just a fun painting, and I guess it really didn't matter. Now my bubbles are still wet, so I've picked up a darker shade of blue and I'm adding it to the bottom of the bubble so that it has that more rounded look. I'm creating a little shadow at the bottom. And as I mentioned earlier, you can add bubbles and seaweed and coral and just about anything you like. And I have to say that of all the things I painted on this paper, this little fish was my absolute favorite. It came out so cute. So while you watch me fill in this paper with these cute little fish and bubbles, I'll remind you that all the products used are listed and linked in the description box if you would like to know what products I'm using and learn more about them, perhaps purchase them for yourself. You can find them all listed and linked in the description box. And as always, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Your interaction with my channel is really helpful. It lets YouTube know that you're enjoying my content, and it makes my videos available to more people. It's a great way to show your support, and I appreciate it more than I can tell you. So here you see I have my white gel pen, and this is where the true fun begins, because you can get carried away adding all these little details. So I'm adding a big white circle for the eyes of the fish. I'm also adding highlights to all the bubbles. And of course, you don't just have to use white gel pens. You can use whatever colors you have and have so much fun with this. Get carried away. As I said earlier, it is so relaxing. And this would actually make a cute little painting for a child's room. Now I've picked up a little black paint on my brush, and I'm finishing the eyes. And once the black dries, I'll come back with the white gel pen and add a highlight to each of the eyes. Well, we're getting near the end of this video, so I hope that you enjoyed this, and if you have some dirty palettes that you give this a try. Again, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to share your version of this painting or any techniques learned on this channel, you can do that on our Facebook group, Vivo Vintage Design Tutorials. Well, I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.